Hello and welcome to the Marketing Times Analytics podcast. I'm your host, Alex Sofronas, and today I'm on with Michael Rosenfeld. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me on, Alex. I am Michael Rosenfeld. I've been working in product marketing for about the past 10 years. Luckily enough, in companies that prioritize data and analytics. Happy to talk today. It's been a natural part of my roles to incorporate that into the process and talk more about that today as we chat here.
Sure. So start by giving us a little bit of an overview of product marketing in general. What value does it bring to a business?
I think product marketing does a great job pulling out the benefits and the value that a product delivers. A lot of times we can get lost in the features. A popular way to describe it is the what and the so what. Product marketing does a good job bringing that so what to the surface. It's not just like product X does this and product Y does this, but what value is that giving to a business? What business objectives is that helping them hit on their end?
So what's the difference between marketing and product marketing?
Yeah, they certainly work together. I think I've been in organizations where product marketing is part of the marketing team. I've been in organizations where product marketing is part of the product team. Sometimes the same organization where it sits in the middle. So it works together, but I think has like new products as a primary function come to light. Product marketing is really doing the work before that launch of what is it? Why should brands care about it? What is the value they're going to get out of it? Positioning and launch materials and collateral. And then you can work collaboratively with a more demand gen side of a marketing team to what is this campaign going to look like to get demos for new requests, or work with the thought leadership side about what industry guide or insights or report do we want to run, incorporating some information that will tie into the new product launch. It's a very collaborative role by nature. I always joke that kind of very appropriately named with just smashing product and marketing together, as you will interact with those two groups a lot, as well as other departments within an organization.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Tell us about your current role.
Yeah, currently doing product marketing at a smaller e-commerce data company. I went into the startup role at this company as around employee 40 or so, establishing what product marketing looked like here and growing it internally. When we look at how that differs from previous roles, working across the entire spectrum of the solution, not just dedicated to a specific product. When you're on a smaller team, your hands are in all the pies.
So I'm curious how you got started in product marketing. What was that journey like?
Yeah, I think initially I worked for a couple companies where you're just like the marketing guy and a team of one or two, and you did a lot within that. And I was at a SaaS insights company at the time. I've been working in different SaaS insights companies for a while. One that had growth went from a 2-person team to a 6 to 8-person team, and roles became more and more specialized. And as that specialization started to form, I naturally gravitated to the product marketing side of the business. Left my graphic design and web design skills a little rusty. I always felt very comfortable talking to the product and engineering team and distilling down what it is they're working on, what's the benefits and values of it, why should our clients or why should our customers care internally, how should the sales team talk about it, how should a customer success team talk about it, or anyone else commercial facing. And yeah, it's a natural growth to product marketing, I would say.
When you're thinking about the scope of product marketing, what is the most challenging part about it for you?
I'd say at times benefit and a challenge of it is you are going to work across entire teams. Some departments, maybe some job functions really get to operate within a silo. Your success is going to depend everyone working together. And that can work beautifully. You can be in an organization where the commercial team, product team, engineering team, product marketing are all in lockstep, envisioning the same thing, marching towards the same goal. And you can be in an organization where there's contention between the departments. You have to filter it out and give your recommendations and plan based on everything. I like to just trust the data. Working in data and insights SaaS companies, we're always selling data to our customers, telling them to trust our data internally as well. I think a benefit has been that we've had that mindset at these companies. When you're selling data, you trust data. So when you have your own data, whether it's CNPS scores, win-loss reports, or anything you're collecting, it's anecdotal or from a system internally or externally, using that to make your decisions and presenting your case for it and aligning through those departments.
Any other tips for dealing with contention between teams?
Yeah, I think anytime there's a conflict, if you reset towards that goal, like what goal are we trying to achieve, and then presenting the data. If someone can make a case, a data-backed case for something, I think it's a lot stronger than just a feeling, for instance, following the data.
As you think about product marketers, what are some of the bigger mistakes that can be made in product marketing, and what does the impact look like?
I think is getting potentially too far away from that data. We all have goals. Sometimes it would be great if this specific industry started buying our solution, our TAM suggests that we can grow our business 2 times or 4 times, 10x, whatever it is, if we can just get whatever it is. But really, sometimes you have to look at, is that our customer? Is this the type of industry that's going to buy our product, our solution? Who are they working with today, if anyone, in the competitors? Maybe they're doing their own things. Maybe it's just not a market fit for them. You can't get too lost in the sauce and down a path that isn't backed by your data. Stumbles that people come into sometimes. It's great to have those big dreams, but those dreams have to be within your realities. And if they're not, what products are you going to develop to capture that market? And do you have those today, or what is your timeline for adding those?
What would happen in the business? What are some examples?
Yeah, just not hitting goals. I know a lot of businesses these days are very goal oriented with their sales, lots of different PE and VC money backing. If you are telling them, give me money, we'll hit this certain amount of growth, and you're not hitting that certain amount of growth, additional funding is probably not on its way or is potentially in trouble. We see layoffs or different things. Those are influenced by a lot of things, not just bad market decisions, but certainly one of the impacts out there.
What about long-term risks versus short-term? So you mentioned if you get money and you don't deliver growth with it, you don't get that money again. Is it ever possible that you see a short-term growth, but it's actually at a long-term expense? And how could that happen?
I'm trying to think of some examples to tie it back to not just the hypothetical here.
If marketers start giving really rich offers to customers, they're going to get an increase in sales, right? Especially if it's a highly competitive industry with price-sensitive consumers. That resets the consumer's baseline for what they expect for price to value ratio. It can be hard to correct that. Those increased sales are coming in at a lower margin. Depending on what the offer is, the business might be losing money for years before those customers pay the money back. That sounds like a short-term gain that would come with more budget, but at a long-term expense.
Absolutely. Ideally, working in the SaaS industry, you want those multi-year contracts. You will see some pricing from people doing a 1-year contract, a lower amount, and then in the future, they want to jack it back up to what that market rate is. It's not a long-term play. You might have that customer for a year. Once that price is going to go back up, if your solution wasn't on par with others where they thought maybe they were getting a discount, a growing kind of solution that could service the same needs, they're going to move back and remember that. Even if that company develops those solutions over years, their reputation could be potentially ruined, not only with that brand, but we see people move around companies, people talk, people go to trade shows, they discuss their different solutions and what they're working for. It's a very short-term play.
So if you're going to train a new product marketer, how do you go about that? What do you teach? What subjects do you teach them? What do you recommend they do?
In my experience working with people new to product marketing, I always ask them what their initial interest is in product marketing. I definitely want people to have that soft landing spot, initially work in things they're already comfortable with, things they are interested in learning, and like over time we can tackle the other parts of the role. Another thing for new product marketers that I try to do is not really putting a ceiling on them. If there's a project that you feel ready to take the lead on, take the lead on it. I'll assist you. And if you're doing it, great. I'm glad we made this decision to like let you lead this product. And if you need support, like I'm there to support you and we'll get there together. I strongly believe in not artificially capping people's roles as they come into an organization. There's obviously the work you have to get done, but as you want to expand and grow is my thought on it.
I'm curious about any examples that you might have about learning moments in your own career and what they taught you.
Definitely a lot. There's been times where we're launching a new solution and product marketing as a function is just getting molded at a company. I'm doing those initial launches and we're launching, then afterwards, how are we measuring success? And so, okay, like we need to set these parameters of how we're going to measure post-launch success beforehand. You don't want to like just pick numbers post. You want that established beforehand or other things. And those are all learning moments. I think I'm thankful to have had the opportunity. I do think going back to new customers, those learning moments, I'm really big on not gatekeeping. I feel like the product marketing industry. I think it's happened potentially in other orgs. Product marketing's not new at this point, but certainly still maybe new to some industries, still definitely growing. I've been very fortunate to have my career evolve into this. And I don't want to pull up the ladder behind me. If someone's interested in product marketing and they're working in some other role beforehand, if they have those soft skills to excel in it, let's do it. Let's learn product marketing. Let's work together.
I want you to ask yourself a question. How much of the data that your business collects is actually used to drive contextual marketing campaigns? The capabilities of the marketing industry are evolving rapidly, and that's great news for businesses. More data is becoming available at increasing levels of granularity, and that data can be used to create better marketing campaigns that better resonate with your key audiences and increase customer conversion rates. Marketing tactics are becoming more focused and contextual, which is bridging the gap between B2B and B2C marketing. At the end of the day, we're marketing to individuals, whether they're buying on behalf of a business or whether they're buying a product or service for their home. My name is Alex, and I'm an expert in data, analytics, and direct marketing. I've managed over $70 million in media spend, over $10 million in agency fees, and I have a proven track record in lowering cost per sale in direct marketing, digital media, and paid search campaigns. I use data and analytics to dive into campaign performance, identify growth opportunities, and action on those insights to deliver business results. I've worked at companies like IBM and DirecTV, where I've leveraged LTV analytics and customer insights to identify profitable groups of customers and drive demand amongst those customer groups. The secret is in de-averaging campaign and audience performance, understanding the components of profitability and tying that together with audience segmentation. So the question is, are you using the right data to maximize your marketing potential? Grab time with me to learn how you can get the most sales out of your marketing efforts. Thanks for listening.
I'm curious if you've ever had this challenge, because as I reflect on it, this is probably one of the things that I would like to have optimized for, and I am optimizing for in the future. It's an odd thing to even talk about, but it's the idea of pushing back. And sometimes, this is not something that was intuitive to me, sometimes if you don't push back, you implicate yourself in whatever's happening. So if you're being accused of doing something wrong in your marketing operations, and you say, yeah, okay, we'll work on it, you have just accepted responsibility for that being wrong. It's important to remember that there's a trust involved in a business, and people have to trust you that you're going to take care of things and that you aren't just letting things go and things break and then they have to come to you to tell you to fix it. So it's important to have the stance of, why did this happen? You need to make it clear why something happened and whose fault it is. Don't just accept the criticism. If you don't push back, it reduces trust. Yeah. People trust conviction. They trust when you really believe in something and you speak about it with intention. I was too nice in the past and I felt awkward pushing back. Sometimes pushing is the right decision, and being passive can actually hurt more than standing behind what you believe in and having those firm opinions and realizing that's why they hired you, to push back when it's necessary. Because otherwise, where's the judgment? Where is the critical thinking if you just take everything and say yes? People want somebody who is going to think independently and say no sometimes. I think that's one of the most valuable skills that people have in business. Discernment in when you should do something and not, and when something is a valid criticism or not. Do you agree with that? Do you have any personal experiences like that?
Yeah, I would say not to go full Jerry Maguire on your podcast, but like it's a very show me the data moment. I think you can, if you just go along with things, oh, we're going to expand our business to APAC. It's like, do we have a right to win there? Who are our competitors? Who's already there? Do we have the solutions they need? Do we have the integrations and partnerships they potentially need? It's great on paper. You can look at like kind of the first level of the Russian nesting doll of a TAM, SAM, SUM like analysis and be like, there's so much opportunity here, but do we have a right to win it? I try not to make it a battle of opinions at times. It works best, the role, I think, as egoless as you can be, and just say, here's the data I have that suggests this might not work. What data do you have to suggest this could? So like outside of a feeling, what data do you have? And it's possible I don't have all the data or information, and new data and information could be presented to me. But I think when you're making data-backed decisions, it helps in preventing kind of these situations that we just discussed. If everyone's aligned and on the same page, because we've all seen the same data, we can all make the same decision. Don't hoard data, share information. The more informed decisions you're making, I feel like only the better.
What about the many decisions where there's absolutely no data? When you're looking to hire people and you're talking about soft skills that you can't measure, or when you're looking at partners to hire, you could look at their number of clients, but you don't really have data in the same way you do if you're optimizing a marketing campaign. How do you navigate those decisions and pushing back when there is no data to fall back on as the deciding vote?
It's a very good question. In some of the hiring discussions I've been a part of, or when we're looking at potential partner fit, I think those soft skills can shine through during an interview process. Can this person speak clearly? Can they describe a complex thing and make it easy? What were they doing before? Certain roles, there's things where like a partner could just be very matter of fact, where you have distribution data that connects to 80,000 independent stores across the country. It's a very matter of fact thing that you can look at rather than just like, hey, we do this. It'd be weird to partner with a company that doesn't have data backing, suggesting that they have some level of success in what they're claiming to be able to do. But I think you get a feel for it. I think a lot of these roles are like, I think some of it goes back to not gatekeeping. If I'm hiring, do we think this person can do this? Do we think this person could be trained in this? I think during the interview process, interviews are getting longer and longer these days. Often we can send you a sample set of data and ask you 3 business questions and have you present on it. We get a feel. Are they able to interpret this data? What was their presentation skill like during the interview process? Different things of that sort. I feel like you really get a feel for someone who maybe doesn't have a track record of doing a certain job.
Would you recommend somebody goes to university to study marketing if they want to get into product marketing?
I don't think it hurts, but I've worked with people who have come from a lot of backgrounds. It's a new discipline. I don't know these days if there's more product marketing focused courses in colleges. Potentially they exist. But if you have a natural curiosity in how things work, what value they bring, distilling complex things into easy to understand. I always think when I'm working on a positioning document or something, if you have a new product coming, will my dad understand this is a question I ask myself a lot. And I try my hardest. It's over his head on a lot of things that do with tech companies, but it's always in the back of my head. My dad understand this. I think other people have similar links to how they connect that make sure everyone can understand what's going on. But yeah, I don't think it's a requirement. And I don't think having worked in product marketing is a requirement to work in product marketing in the future. I think there's a lot of translatable skills across different departments, different teams, different roles that I've seen.
I want to switch gears a little bit and ask you about market research in your campaigns. How do you approach market research?
I think it's best if you can kind of get a mix of kind of internal data points and external. When it comes to market research, CNPS scores, just a quarterly check-in. How are you feeling about the product? If you get that anecdotal feedback with the kind of scale score, you can track over time. Loss reports are always very helpful. And I think best handled either by a third party or by product marketing when you're at a company. I know some people ask their sales team to do the follow-up. I don't know if they get the most true information. People want to be nice to the person they're just talking to when you can come in as an unbiased source, just gathering the facts. I think that helps. There's a lot of third-party review sites out there these days. You can do competitive intelligence. You can see what analysts are speaking about in your industry, what's important, what trends are emerging. So I think there's a good mix between things you can pull internally and externally. I think anecdotal feedback has its place. Interview some of your top salespeople, your top customer success people, and what they're hearing as well. A lot of tools like Gong. We use Gong at my current company that like tracks sales and CS calls and everything. You can select keyword filters. You can see what's being mentioned. You can identify trends. It's getting smarter with their plugins.
How does storytelling play a part in product marketing?
Yeah, I think, and I know I've mentioned it a couple times here already, but making it easy to understand, certainly goal number one, but goal number two, you want it to be engaging and interesting. You don't just want the bulleted list. If you're going to get that engagement, you're going to get demo requests, you're going to get everything else. You really want to tell that narrative story of here's where your business is today. Here's where your business could be, like leveraging this solution. Let them know how they're going to benefit from it. Paint that picture and your future kind of with whatever solution I'm selling, your future without it. I think sometimes you can go the FUD. I use it a lot. There's a lot of acronyms in marketing and product marketing, but like the fear and missing out or understanding or anything. You can go that route. Like, here's you today. Without this solution, these are the challenges you're going to face. With this solution, here's the benefits and the value you're going to receive. And I think wrapping that all up into the storytelling is key. You want people to understand the path the option. There's a fork in the road. What path do you want to walk down?
What about it between product marketing and different teams? Is there an element of storytelling?
Absolutely. You want your teams to leave not just with the high level information. You want to build up that excitement internally, and that can flow over. If you get teams internally excited about upcoming product launches, that's going to carry over into customers and potential new customers being excited about those features as well. So I think that plays a role. I always use a lot of GIFs in my presentations. Hopefully they're fun. Hopefully they bring some excitement to it. But it's just one lever I pull in trying to make that more engaging and build some excitement around things.
Yeah, GIF. I use GIF as well. GIF like reminds me of Jiffy Lube or something.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad to hear you're on the right side of history with GIFs. They'll remember us, Alex. They'll remember us.
Tell us about a campaign that you ran that was very successful. What made it successful?
I think one that we had a lot of success with in my current role is launching category level benchmark insights within our reporting solution. It's always nice to be the first to do something. We had our competitive intelligence around most people are just reporting on the customer, maybe the customer over time. They can see how they did last spring to this spring, but there wasn't a lot of visibility if I'm selling cookies or potato chips. How are the other cookies and potato chip companies doing? Where are they marketing? What level of success are they having in their marketing there? It was exciting. I think that was one where we did a good job building that internal excitement. It flowed through the customers to the clients. One of our KPIs was certainly around adoption in our dashboard for it. We had a lot of success. People were using it, saving reports. We can see how often they're creating permalinks to send out internally in their own companies to share these reports. It was certainly successful.
Do you work with making a product more interactive or gamifying it? Is that a part of product marketing?
I think it certainly could be. I guess going back a company at this point, one of the things we did was a panel data company. How do we collect that panel data? Some legacy providers give you scan guns at home. You come home from the grocery store, you'd rescan all the barcodes on your product, and then it would log in the cloud somewhere. We worked on developing an app that you take a picture of your receipt, you can earn points. You can do fun things like spin a slot machine wheel to potentially earn more rewards. Once you have enough coins, you can cash them in for an Amazon gift card. We certainly gamified that. Develop this. How are we going to disrupt the market and make it more modern than having a barcode scanning gun at home?
It does sound fun.
Yeah, the highs and lows. They have to send it to you.
It's true. The self-checkout, they have the scanner, and I love it. It's very fun and interactive. It's very inefficient.
I always get in trouble for going too fast. Yeah, I'll like scan multiple things or like one thing at a time that I can watch myself on replay from some cameras that I don't know where they exist, but they're like.
Where do you learn about product marketing? You mentioned A lot of it is learned on the job because it's a rapidly evolving industry and it requires a lot of logic to understand the decisions. But where do you learn about product marketing besides on the job?
In addition to on the job learning, there's online communities that have been growing, like give you resources, hold webinars. I have attended a in-person like 2-day conference before on product marketing where you get to interact with other product marketers in a wide variety of industries. I know when I had the opportunity to do that, I was expecting a lot of people in similar roles to me. There was a large contingent of people who worked in product marketing within cybersecurity. It was something that like I didn't think of at all before as being something that would require product marketing, but now it makes sense to me. They're releasing new features and solutions to keep everyone's data and privacy safer online. They have clients just like anyone else. Things they learned in their industry, like their practices you can use in your own. Not only other product marketers, but other product marketers within different industries can open your eyes to different practices and solutions.
Can you tell us about product marketing, tying product marketing to revenue? How do you measure success?
Sometimes that could be one of our KPIs. If a new partnership or solution we're launching and there's an agreed upon KPI, by the end of the quarter, we're going to have $200,000 in revenue driven from this new solution or whatever numbers you want to use. That is occasionally not some product launches or product adoption. Maybe it's a net new for free feature. Some of them are going to require an upgrade or potentially a new sale. So those agreed upon KPIs beforehand. I do think that's something when going back to that TAM, SAM, SUM model, at times you can say, how are we going to revenue? Is it all going to be new business? Is there expansion opportunities within it? Is there product gaps or adjacent products to our solution that we can maybe grab more revenue from? If people don't want to pay someone else for this, maybe we can bring in some of those solutions here, develop some external solutions outside the frame of our initial business to grab more people in.
You mentioned TAM, SAMs. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it starts the year. Total addressable market. Again, a lot of abbreviations in the industry in general, sometimes get lost in them. But your total addressable market is anyone who could potentially buy your product. Then you think, do I play in all these markets? In theory, everyone could buy this. This is my addressable market. When you look at things like your win-loss rate, you're like, amongst my addressable market, maybe we win 20% of the times, or our attainable market, if we're trying to set realistic goals, is going to be like 20% of this. I've broken it down in my role in further ways for not just industry, but at times like revenue within that industry. When you're talking about a company that has over $250 million in revenue, 40% of the time. Emerging brands, maybe they close 10% of the time and there's more specialty niche solutions that they go with. Putting all that together helps set those realistic targets and goals, certainly, and not just going in and being like, let's make some money. Everyone wants to make money, but having an understanding of the right to win, again, is the way I've described it. To summarize the whole TAM process is like, what do we have the right to win out there? What could be ours for the taking?
Can you tell us more about right to win?
I think it goes back to that obtainable market. What solutions do we have today? Are they relevant to what industries? Are they best for a specific revenue size company? And then using that information to set appropriate goals, I would say, and not everyone will use our solutions. There's always going to be competition. There's always going to be out of it people who try to do it on their own. So I think having that information goes back to that data again, like how often do you win here within the different, how fragmented is that industry? Is there a lot of high revenue brands? If you're really successful with large enterprise companies, maybe specific industries are more, no one's really like top dogs. There's just a lot of same sized emerging companies, again, not to say small.
As you think about the future of product marketing, how do you see it developing? In particular, how do you see AI changing product marketing?
I think AI can help with a lot of the analysis. I think that's a clear, easy one. I know even myself within marketing times, I'm like, oh, like a chat GPT is just going to write my positioning docs for us. I don't think we're there yet, but I think it can do a good job analyzing that data. I mentioned solutions like Gong that record calls before. When we do a CNPS, in addition to the scores we get, a lot of people will provide anecdotal feedback. You can read hundreds and hundreds of comments from your customers, or you can ask something like AI to give me the top 5 takeaways from all of these comments. And I think it helps distill it down a lot faster and move quicker in your work. over the past month, what are the top 5 concerns or product feature requests people have asked for in our recorded gong calls? And then it helps prioritize product roadmaps, which can link that to Salesforce quickly if there's opportunity cost or AR of this brand. If they were to leave, if it's a customer, what's the AR potential if it's new business, matching it all up that way.
Yeah, I have to agree. There's a lot of the real value in analytics is the question you're asking. The answering of the question is pretty easy to automate. There's a step to everything that can be broken down and taught. But I think the creative side, where you have to really think about what you don't know, when you're thinking about parts of your marketing organization that might be underperforming, or you're trying to find areas of optimization, you have to ask questions about areas you don't have a lot of information about. And that can be tricky. It can be tricky because there's so many different areas or directions you could go. You could look into any part of the business. You have to use critical thinking to understand the context of where the business is, where the needs are, what might be needing improvement, and then ask the questions from there. And I think that can be tricky to program into a machine because there's so many different aspects about it. The machine probably won't have all the data. If it does, then maybe it'll do a pretty good job of that. But until then, the asking of the question is the real value from what I can see.
I would agree. Right now, we're at a point where you certainly have to hold AI's hand a little bit and direct it. And if there's not a way to direct it, then you're the pioneer going out and exploring and discovering that information, those answers.
How can product marketing support a sales team?
Certainly work hand in hand a lot with our sales teams across multiple companies I've worked at now. A lot of it is going back to those benefits when we're launching a new solution, creating that initial collateral, that initial messaging. Lots of times we'll work within the marketing team for those initial kind of like casting the wide net. And then as we bring people in for demos or anything, like, do they have the right training to give the demos, give the right answers, talk to it? Do they know what brands to go after? That goes back to the TAM, SAM, SOM. You don't just want to release the sales team out of the wild and be like, talk to anyone. No, your time is going to be best focused talking to these people. This one's going to be more up in the air, perhaps. If we get an incoming request, talk to them, but no, going into it, it's potentially not a field we've had a lot of success in, or a field that maybe has a lot of competition. If it's industry specific competitors, can certainly water down your ability to win. I would say being in constant communication with your sales org is very important, whether it's new business or retaining and expanding existing business. You want those insights that they're gathering. There's a lot of valuable information there that's only going to help you do your job as a product marketer or any marketer better. Don't leave those stones unturned.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for your insights. And thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on, Alex. I appreciate it.
Awesome.